What's going on, everybody? You have Tone here, bringing you guys my Teambuilder and battle for week number 8 of season 2 of the PCL. And this week we are taking on the Groningen Gallades, coached by Lux, in a division rematch from earlier in the season. His links and stuff will be in the description down below, as always, as well as the links to the other coaches in the PCL. So like I mentioned before, this is a divisional game. This is our rematch against Lux and his Groningen Gallades, who we played back in week number 4, and we did not have the best of performances that game. There's a lot of unfortunate para hacks and some untimely crits, and we ended up losing that game. He ended up handing us our first loss of the season, and since then we've gotten back into a good spot. We've won our last 2 games, and Lux has been doing a great job himself. He actually has not lost since he beat us back in week number 4. He's on a 4-game winning streak, so he is on a tear, and he is in our division. We play him again. Nothing has changed from our teams. Both teams are the exact same 11-mon squads that they were the last time. If I remember correctly, the 6 months he brought the last time, he brought the Megalopony, Darkrai, Scolipede, Gligar, Magnezone, and the Druddigon. So, in hindsight, considering it's a rematch, and quite honestly, I'm kind of in a situation where I kind of don't like these sort of situations where I have to face someone again in the regular season, especially considering if I end up making the playoffs and I have to play Lux round 1, that'll be the 3rd time I'm playing him, and prepping for the same team 3 times, and you feel like you're exerting everything into just making sure you're bringing the best possible team for a certain matchup is just, it's kind of stressful on the mind, I'm not going to lie to you. So luckily for me, though, because I lost the first time, it's easier to change up the team, make some adjustments based on how your opponent played the last time. This was a little bit of a exception because, as you see by my team, it's essentially the same 6 Pokemon I brought the last time, with the exception being I have Mega Gallade on this team as opposed to Crobat. So just to briefly run down the team I brought the last time, which was a while back. So I had Hydreigon, which was a Choice Scarf set, a physical Choice Scarfer, something like along those lines. Crobat was Brave Bird, Taunt, Defog, and Roost. Clefable was a Calm Mind set. Aegislash was a mixed defensive set. Seismitoad was in a Guavaberry set, and Ranunculus was a Fizdef Rocky Helmet set for the Megalopony. So this time around, I decided I wanted to change up. I didn't want to bring the same sets as the last time, or I wanted to try to make sure I didn't go as far as to make those same sets as the last time. So not going too much into detail on the team matchup because, like I said, nothing has changed between our teams. So jump right into the team that I brought for this time around. Starting off with the Hydreigon, as you see, it is a little bit different from the last time. There is no Scarf on this team. Just looking at this set, it is kind of annoying, and this might be a little bit of an instance of, well, I got para hacks against Lux the first time, so it may be like trying to say that, okay, if it worked for you, I should try to do the same thing against him. But this is more so a sense of trying to slow down his offense, his Megalopony, his Scolipede, Blacephalon to a lesser extent, the Darkrai, as well, as this is pretty much going to be my dedicated check to the Darkrai. As you see, I'm a very bulky Hydreigon with max HP, and you see the moveset. I have Thunder Wave, Roost, Dark Pulse, and Signal Beam. I originally had Substitute over Signal Beam, but having a way to hit the Darkrai super effectively just seemed like a much better option in this case. And if I'm able to get the Thunder Wave off on something like that Darkrai, something like a Megalopony, and combine that with the fact that I have Dark Pulse, it'll be a chance to either paralyze, a chance for my opponent to either become fully paralyzed or get flinched by the Dark Pulse. So there is that chance of one or the other happening, and not trying to use that to my favor, but like I said, it's just a way of trying to slow down his more offensive his offense, which is very, very fast and can really hurt me in a multitude of ways. So you see the EV spread here, just max HP. It's enough speed to outrun a Jolly max speed Cloyster, and the rest I just threw in the special attack to give Dark Pulse and Signal Beam a bit of oomph behind their power. Then, as for the rest of the team, it's kind of the same concept with some minor changes. So first off, you see Mega Gallade in this slot here, running Toxic, Drain Punch, Ice Punch, and Shadow Sneak, and you see I'm running a very bulky Mega Gallade, because just looking at his speed tiers, the only Pokemon on his team in terms of his offense that I would naturally outspeed with Mega Gallade is that Blacephalon. But he can easily run either a Choice Scarf Blacephalon if he decides to bring it this time, or he can easily just speed pass like he did the last game with Scolipede into his Blacephalon and then just blow me back with like a Choice Spec Shadow Ball, which is not going to be fun. But I don't really expect Blacephalon to come. He could still bring it, although I do have the Hydreigon, which does kind of hard wall that set, but he does have the Scolipede as well, so I had to be very careful if he decides to go that option. So the idea, Toxic is here to wear down his bulkier Pokemon. Specifically, if he decides to bring the Cresselia this time, I have Toxic for that. Drain Punch just to get back some health and keep some longevity. Ice Punch is my main way of hitting the Gligar, and my other way of hitting stuff like Florges and the Druddigon. And Shadow Sneak I have here to make sure I can pick off a weakened Blacephalon, as you see that I'm not even bothering to outrun the Blacephalon because of the fact that I have Shadow Sneak to make up for that lack of speed on my Gallade. The speed tier allows me to run Adamant because outside of his faster Pokemon, his speed tiers are kind of gapped out. Because after his Blacephalon, his next fastest Pokemon is, from a base speed standpoint, is Gligar at 85. So he has a huge gap between Blacephalon and Gligar, which I'm hopefully going to try to exploit by being able to run Adamant in this matchup, just because, like I said, I'm not really afraid of Blacephalon. I have Shadow Sneak that can do a tremendous amount of damage to Blacephalon, has a chance to knock it out after Stealth Rock damage, and yeah, it's pretty much all I have to say on the matter. This does a ton of work in this matchup. So moving on, our next Pokemon here is the Clefable. This time I am running a Tank Fable set, Soft Boiled, Moonblast, Fire Blast, and knockoff with Life Orb. So this generally was my win con in the last matchup with like a Calm Mind set with Moonblast plus Shadow Ball for the Cresselia. But I decided to go this option because of what happened the last game with Magnezone, like completely destroying my team. This is just a nice way of luring said Magnezone out of the way, because what this allows me to do is I'm running a Timid Nature with enough speed to guarantee outspeed a modest max speed Magnezone. I really don't expect him to be timid to like the a timid Magnezone, just because I feel like he would like the added power that Magnezone has against my team. And if I'm able to get that prediction correctly, the combination of knockoff into a Life Orb Fire Blast can blow back the Magnezone. Like, I expect him to try to go hard Magnezone like he did the last time, and this will really surprise him, something fierce. So hopefully I'm able to get that to work out in my favor. So next up is my Aegislash with King Shield, Sword Stance, Shadow Sneak, and Iron Head. the win con is now my Aegislash here, as with a sword stance up, if I'm able to weaken stuff like Megalopony, eliminate those particular mons in general, that prevents me from just spamming Shallow Sneak if I'm able to weaken the Darkrai, which I'm able to do with my Mega Gallade plus my Hydreigon. This could potentially just win me the game in the late game. If I'm able to weaken stuff like Scolipede, all that stuff. So the investment, not much else to say in terms of the investment, just the HP and the defense allows me to take I believe it was a +2 Earthquake from an Adamant Scolipede, or like a Z Earthquake from an unboosted Scolipede, one of those two things. And then I still have enough Spadef to take stuff like Cloyster's Hydro Pump from full if I have to, but I'm really not going to try to go that route, if anything. So this is my main win con, my Aegislash. And next up we have the Seismitoad, my Rocky Helmet user, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Ice Punch, and Toxic. This is my way of whittling down the Megalopony, as if I'm able to get any chip damage off on that, I can further put it into range of stuff like my Mega Gallade or my Clef, and make it easier for my Aegislash to come in and finish it off with an Iron Head if it's not like a substitute or encore variant or something along those lines. So we're running a more physically defensive spread here, as I'm running enough defense to guarantee take 2 jolly returns from Megalopony. I don't see him being adamant, because I feel like he would respect the Crobat. And the rest are just thrown into special defense. And then lastly is my Ranunculus, which is now a Trick Room variant with Side Shock, Shadow Ball, Focus Blast, and Trick Room. This basically just uses his speed advantage over my team to my advantage, as I can get up a Trick Room, blow things away between Side Shock, Shadow Ball, Focus Blast if I'm able to connect on the Darkrai. I really hope it does not come down to that in the matchup. Actually, I did not, if I recall correctly, I don't even think this is the moveset I had. No, this is not the moveset I had. I did not have Shadow Ball in this game. I had Signal Beam. Yes, I put Signal Beam over Shadow Ball to guarantee I had a surefire way of doing more damage, of hitting the Darkrai without having to risk Focus Blast. Focus Blast is mainly here for the Magazone, so it's Signal Beam. This is supposed to be Signal Beam, not Shadow Ball. I forgot I made that last minute change, because I feel like if he does bring the Cresselia, I feel like he'll be physically defensive for my Gallade. So that was the insight. That was the idea behind this set. So yeah, this just does very, very well in the matchup. So yeah, that's enough of me rambling about my team. I'm just going to jump right into the battle and see how we do. So, be right back. Alright guys, so here we are at the battle against Lux and his Groningen Gallades, and yeah, he pretty much brought the similar team as the last time, with some minor exceptions. No Gligar, no Jordagon this time. He instead decided to bring the Florges, and he did bring the Grottle. So I'm expecting the Grottle to do nothing more than get up rocks, as it is the only Stealth Rocker on the team that he brought. So everything else is pretty much what I expected here. So what I'm going to do in this game is I'm actually going to lead off with my Mega Gallade, expecting him to try to lead off with either the Magnezone, try to pressure my Seismitoad with Hidden Power Grass, or I am going to try to catch something like Megalopony if he tries to like fake out or whatnot. But I don't think he would try to risk that strategy. I think he just finds it in his best opportunity to get up rocks as early as he possibly can. So let's just start the battle and see how we do here. So in a strange little bit of a turn here, so I'm going to lead off on Mega Gallade, expecting him to lead off with something like the Magnezone, but he ends up leading off with the Grottle, just trying to get up his turn 1 rocks here. But I'm going to take the opportunity to Mega Evolve here, and I am going to just fire off an Ice Punch, as it pretty much guarantees damage off on everything on his team. And as you're going to see by his damage, I'm assuming that this was not a fully physically defensive Grotto, or else I would have did a whole lot less, as he's just going to go for the Elite Seed this turn just to get back some recovery, which was solid play. I'm not going to go hard Clef or Ranunculus on that. So now I'm going to go hard Clef now, as he decides to get up his rocks. And now I'm expecting him to make that play out into his Magnet Zone like he did the last time. So I'm just going to fire off a knockoff here, as he does indeed go out into the Magnet Zone, expecting me to just be a defensive variant. So I'm going to knock off his choice specs here, and now I am going to stay in. I am going to outspeed him, go for the Fire Blast, but we are going to miss out on the kill just barely. But he's going to go for Hidden Power Grass, expecting me to go into my Seismitoad on the predicted Flash Cannon. So I'm just going to stay in and knock out the Magnet Zone with the knockoff here. So Magnet Zone is though gone. In comes the Florges here, and now I could have made the play and gone out into my Aegislash, but I wanted to make sure my Aegislash was as high as HP as possible. I'm going to knock off here, get rid of his leftovers, as he reveals he's actually Choice Scarf, so he's trying to catch my Mega Gallade off guard with that set. So solid bring, but I'm going to let my Clef go down to the Florges Moonblast, as I'm now going to send out my Ranunculus, and I'm just going to fire off a Trick Room here, as I can take any one hit this Florges can go for. As he makes the hard play into his Darkrai here, but I had no reason not to just go for the Trick Room here, just had to use his speed advantage over my team to my advantage. So now he's going to make the switch out into his Florges here, as I go for the Signal Beam. And as you're going to see, he's going to do nothing. So now he's going to make another solid play. He's going to double back. He's going to stay in this time, expecting me to predict his Darkrai to come back in on the Signal Beam. So he's going to fire off a Moonblast, get damage off on his on my Ranunculus. I'm going to fire off a Side Shock, and we're going to take out the Florges here with the Side Shock. In comes the Grottle here, as I am down to my last turn of Trick Room. I'm going to go for the Signal Beam, as he's going to pull a switch out and go hard into Lopunny on the Signal Beam here. Take a good chunk of damage, as the Trick Room is going to end. I'm going to make the play out and go into my Seismitoad here, as this is my Lopunny response. So he is now going to Mega Evolve, and he's going to click the return on my Seismitoad, but I can guarantee I can take two hits after rocks from a Lopunny. But as you're going to see, he is going to unfortunately crit my Seismitoad with the return. I do get Rocky Helmet damage off, and then he's going to go for the Drain Punch to knock out my Seismitoad. So I unfortunately am not going to get any, I'm not going to get my rocks up this turn, which is going to really suck, because I now have no way of pressuring that Scolipede. It can now come in for free. But now I get to go out into my Mega Gallade here and just fire off a Drain Punch, as he's going to go for Substitute here. And I'm going to go for the Drain Punch and just get some health back. So he's essentially just trying to sack off his Lopunny here, as he's now going to go and reveal the Encore and Encore my Gallade into Drain Punch, which is pretty bad, because what it allows him to do is he's going to sack off his Lopunny to the Mega Gallade, but it's going to allow him a free switch into his Scolipede, which he's going to do right now, and he's going to go and essentially get a free Swords Dance here, as I'm forced to switch out. And I'm going to go hard into my Hydreigon here, hopefully bluff the fact that I was like a Scarf set, but unfortunately I came in on rocks, so that was a pretty bad play, but I didn't really have anything better to do in that situation. I didn't want to go hard HG because it still like did a good chunk of work in this game. So he's going to go for the Mega Horn, he's going to connect, take out my Hydreigon as I expected. So my Hydreigon goes down here, but I still think I can pull this game back, as I am now going to go out into my Aegislash now. And it essentially was a 50-50 from my standpoint, but he's just going to go fire off an Earthquake here, as what I should have did was gone for the Iron Head here, so I would have taken any hit from this thing, but I'm actually going to Swords Dance here, so that was a bit of a misplay on my part. And as you're going to see, it's actually going to end up costing me, because now what I could have did there was Iron Headed and gone. I could have Iron Headed into Shadow Sneaked, but as you're going to see, I'm now going to go for a +2 Shadow Sneak, and it does do a lot, but the combination of Iron Head plus Shadow Sneak would have done just as much, if not more, in that situation. So now my Aegislash is down, and now it basically just comes down to a situation where I have to go to my Mega Gallade. I have to like crit Shadow Sneak or something along those lines here, but it's not going to happen. I Shadow Sneak, don't kill. He goes for Mega Horn, takes out my Mega Gallade, And now it basically just comes down to my Ranunculus here. The only way I can bring it back is he has to miss Megahorn, which that wouldn't really sit well with me if it came down to a Megahorn miss of me getting it back. But luckily, he does hit the Megahorn, takes out my Ranunculus, and we are going to lose 3-0 to the Groningen Gallades in a lot less haxier game than the first one, not going to lie. I was a little bit more relieved that this game went a lot more quicker than the last one. The last one was a lot more painless, but painful, excuse me. But in hindsight, I did make a very, very big misplay on the turn. I went for Swords with my Aegislash. I should have Ironhead plus Shadow Sneak into Mega Gallade Shadow Sneak. Would have taken out the Scolipede. Then he had a Darkrai. I eat any hit from Darkrai unboosted. I Drain Punch back all the health. And then all he had left was a Grotto, which I could have essentially Toxic Stall between Toxic plus Drain Punch, getting back recovery, and I still had a Ranunculus in the back with Signal Beam to knock out the Grotto. So, in my estimation, I essentially potentially threw away a win again. Like, there's no two ways around it. Like, I felt like I could have played this game a lot better than I did. Like, I played so well at the early game with the Clefable, taking out the Magnezone, and then I just felt like I just tapered off at the end, and that's totally on me. But it's not something I can recover. It's something I can recover from. It's not the end of the world. Still sitting pretty 5-3, no big deal. We'll try to bounce back next week. We take on Root, coach of the New Jersey Brobats, in what seems is going to be a very interesting game. So, that's going to be it from me, guys. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And that's going to be it from me. Till the next time, guys, this is Tone, signing out for now. Peace out.